to receive the kick.
What is up, YouTube? Let's talk defense. I'm in the mood to do a commentary video. Haven't done one in quite some time. But let's do some defensive hobnobbing, if you will. Madden 11. Can you play good defense? The answer is yes. And you don't have to result in any cheesy tactics, any nanoing, any pulling people off the defensive line, or any of that nonsense. I'm not going to go into issues with the game. You know, they've been discussed ad nauseum. The game's not changing. Sure, a patch is coming out, but let's be honest. How often have we seen a patch come out that fundamentally transforms a game? It doesn't. So the game's going to play more or less the way it plays. So the issue we have to deal with is, you know, how do we play it? And going through online ranked games and online franchise games, at first I was frustrated with the defense in the game, but then I began to, gradually understand, why I was giving up big plays and big points. Long story short, EA gave us what we've been asking for all these years since next gen started. They gave us a game where, one, ratings matter, and two, your user skill matters as well. They gave us a good combination of both. And when I was getting frustrated, rather than, whine and complain and, put up, videos of all the flaws in the game and whatnot, I decided to take a look at the guys who I was playing against, who were able to play good defense, and see what they were doing right and what they were doing, and what I was doing wrong. After the games, I'd go into the game recap, break down the highlights, and see, what they were doing. And one thing that is important to establish to be a good defensive player is that you have to be good at user controlling somebody. I don't care who it is. It can be a defensive lineman, it can be a linebacker, a safety. You have to know the player you're using and how to use him well and to make an impact on the game. And of course, some players are going to be better to use than others simply because they're better overall players. The next thing I did was to scour my depth chart and look at the ratings of each and every single player on my roster, what they can do, what they can't do, and then use the game plan feature, which is the reason why I love this feature so much, is that I can put together a series of plays that accentuates my roster's strengths and hide their flaws. When I play online, I can't tell you, how many people cover a guy like Dustin Keller. I use the Jets a lot, you guys all know that. Or in this game, Tony Gonzalez with a linebacker. Not going to happen. There are maybe 2 or 3 linebackers in the entire league that can cover Tony Gonzalez man for man. And if you don't have one of those players, it's not going to happen. Same thing with coverage. There's only a couple of corners who are going to be able to cover the elite receivers man-to-man all over the field. But more often than not, there's not a defensive coordinator in the NFL that's going to isolate their corner on a stud receiver or a stud tight end to cover him with a linebacker on a down-for-down basis. So if a defensive coordinator in the NFL is not going to do it, why should you as a gamer try to think you're going to have success doing that also? Part of defense, the most important part of defense, is putting your players in the best position to succeed. And then once you've done that, use your user skill to take away what your opponent's tendencies are. And once you decide to make a commitment to doing that, you're going to find that your defense improves. Now, I think a lot of people get frustrated because, past Madden games have spoiled us. In Madden 10, a defense like Cover 3 was the super glue defense. It didn't really matter who you had out there as far as zone coverage ratings go. If you were skillful at using a yellow zone defender, you could audible your coverage to cover the middle of the field and mop up everywhere else. Well, those days are gone, folks, and they ain't coming back anytime soon. I think another part of defense is mental toughness. you can call a play and you can have the right personnel on the field, and sometimes, talent, outdoes scheme, and sometimes you have a team that's tough to stop, like the Colts here. The Colts are going to make plays. So, for me, if I do give up a play, or if I do see something happen that looks weird, or the AI just flat out screws me, you just gotta let it go. Move on to the next play. The offense won, and just have a short memory and move on. Screaming at the game is not going to solve anything. Saying that the game should do this, that, or the other is not going to solve anything, because the game's not going to change. So you might as well focus your energy on becoming a better player. And I don't say that to make it sound like I'm the greatest player in the world, because I'm not. You can see plenty of videos I have posted in games that I lose and games that I get blown out. I'm not like some people who only show their good plays, only show their good games, and make themselves out to be some kind of Madden god. I'm just like most of you there. I win some, I lose some, but I just try to have fun and play sim at all times, and whatever outcome happens. So, those are the keys to playing good defense, I think. Good user control, stay disciplined at it, stay patient at it, have a short memory when things go bad, and put your players in the best position to succeed. When I play the Jets, if you go look at my Jets videos, I never have my safeties, Eric Smith or Jim Leonard, covering man-to-man, because they can't do it. They have man coverage ratings in the 60s. I have them in zones, or I have them blitzing, and on the rare occasions where I do have them in man coverage, there's a blitz coming in behind it, because I don't want them sitting in man coverage for very long. So, there are times you're going to have to take some risks on D, but in general, you want to minimize the times when you have players out in places where they shouldn't be, guarding people who they shouldn't guard. Just use your good common sense and let the game play out. Like here on this play here, I called a free safety blitz with one-on-one coverage across the field. And, Dante Robinson, he's no Darrelle Revis, but he's at least, capable of covering, one-on-one. He has a good press coverage rating. He has a rating in the in the low 90s rather, in man coverage. So I can afford to, have him play that kind of, coverage. So I guess the moral of the story is use your players to their strengths, smart play calling, good user control, and I think you'll see that your defense will improve drastically. I hope that's some help to some folks. I'd love to hear some feedback on what people think, and hope this helps. Take care. Peace.